set, Steve, whenever you are.
Thanks. Okay, call to order. Regular meeting, the Dam Authority. Agenda, additions or deletions. I'd like to add two, well actually, it would be one. It's a budget discussion of whatever items we're looking at for 2023. And we can make that number 3.
2022 or 23?
23, we're already set for 22.
Okay, that's what I said.
You know, we're all done for 22. This will be for the 2023 budget.
We need a vote on that.
I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have an agenda. Okay, the minutes are in front of you from the last meeting. Thanks, Allison.
Yep, you're welcome. Sorry about the short notice.
No problem. There are some links. I've got my iPad here. I could pull up if you want to see. They were up, and I think as handouts even for the last meeting, the safety lock and what it looked like.
All those photos and links are on that meeting page from the 2nd of
Correct.
November.
Yeah, and I could pull them up if anybody wants to look. Yeah, that the completion of the safety bracket, transducer pin replacement, greasing the gate, safety ladder install position, and there were pictures of Jerry in a harness going out over to grease.
I had copies of them in there.
Okay. Then the conditions of the wooden walkway, there was a series of photos that John had provided, and that was in there also. Comment, John.
Comment, on page 2, when you go halfway down where it says 2021 budget, this might seem like phonics, but on the second line it says triennial inspection mandate. I think the word appraisal needs to be crossed out because it's an inspection. And the next line below it, how much that inspection would be. The appraisal is a different issue. And
Well, you could do, if you put a slash between inspection and appraisal, that would indicate there are 2 items. One is the appraisal and one is the inspection. There's a triennial inspection and then there's an appraisal. So
but
there's
at
2 items.
November 2nd, we never knew we had to have an appraisal.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
okay, got it.
Cross the
out
word
appraisal.
appraisal out on that first
Okay.
line.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
The third line, change appraisal to inspection.
I can make those corrections, so
Okay.
if you want to make a motion to approve them with those corrections stated.
Is that all you've got, John? Did you have more?
That's all I have.
I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the regular minutes of November 2nd as amended.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have approved minutes. Communication items.
I don't know, Benny.
Hearing none. Public comment. Are these streamed?
No,
Okay. Seeing none, hearing none, old business, nothing in that category, gets us down to new business. Number 1, Spicer Group. There are 2 proposals in front of you. The one is for the triannual inspection, which Spicer did the last time, and the last time they recommended and we did an underwater inspection also. So this time Spicer, actually in their last triannual, they suggested that we wait and do the underwater the following inspection, not this one. There are a couple items that the underwater inspection pointed to, specifically where the outfall of the water is, the very last bit going over the apron down into Fishtown. Those pieces there are spalled, and they suggested to keep watching them. They did not recommend immediate action. So anyway, and they have come through at $2,000. The cutoff line to going out to bids, I think, is $2,000. We can discuss that in a second. The other one is the appraisal. This has come about because MMRMA, our insurance provider, is calling for a mandated appraisal of the dam. And that's what Spicer says in their document here. This is what we see happening. Leland County is seeking insurance coverage of the structure. So they'll be doing a process to the value of the dam, and in essence it would be a replacement cost. And they have put forth a bid of $2,400. And in our budget, we anticipated $2,500 for the triannual and $3,000 for the appraisal. So what they're coming in at is less than what we anticipated going in. Obviously, the 2,400 is over the line for going out to bids. I guess it's my feeling that Spicer did our inspection the last time. They stepped away. They pointed us toward an underwater inspection group, and rather than hiring them and then charging us to be overseer, they said, you guys can just go ahead and hire these people directly. So they stepped away and didn't take extra money for doing an overseeing job that they felt they didn't need to do. So I thought that was real upfront from Spicer. They did the last inspection. You know, I guess I wouldn't feel out of line suggesting to the county board that we waive bid requirements and go with Spicer. They've been doing these inspections. They've done work on the dam, and we had a sinkhole early on, maybe 3-4 years after the dam was installed. Spicer came in, did the engineering work, oversaw the physical work to be done, all came in under budget. It was they've done a really nice job right on through here. Anyway, I guess that was my spiel, and I look forward to your comments.
I share your thoughts there. Spicer's a very good group. They know our dam. They've done our inspections before. That last report, it was really thorough. Didn't come in within a year or something, but that was one of the best reports I've ever read. And I'm satisfied with both of these, and I'm in favor of moving this forward to the board
I've got a couple questions. Well, one question, one comment. My understanding of professional services is you don't have to bid professional, when you contract with professional services, engineering services, unless there's something specific in the county regulations that would require that. It's not like a construction project.
You're right.
Yeah,
All we gotta do is take it in front of the board
correct.
and say we don't have to sole source this is an engineering service.
Yeah, it's not a sole source, it's a engineering contract for professional
Good words,
service.
yeah.
Just like you wouldn't have to bid a lawyer's, you wouldn't have to bid out lawyer's work. The other question is, in the dam value determination, it looks like they excluded appreciated value. I don't know if that's a requirement from our insurance company or not, but I see that as excluded from the contract. So if we don't need it for our insurance company, it's probably fine, but if the insurance company wants depreciated value, then we would have to add that service as well. But in general, I support John's comment. I've worked with Spicer before. They've always been very professional and they do high quality work.
So you want a motion to,
Yeah, and I think we could phrase, the going out to bid part, any, bid requirement. And that would cover the possibility that the county board of commissioners would still want us to go out to bid even though it's not something that we would need to do from a professional standpoint. The county board of commissioners hold the purse strings.
Yes.
And they might disregard that standard and still demand it. So it would be I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion, and it'll be two parts. I make a motion that we accept the bid for our triennial inspection from Spicer dated February 7th, 2022, and forward that to the Board of Commissioners for approval. Do you want another motion for the other one, or should we vote on that one?
Yeah, you could, well, might as well separate them out, I guess.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll also make a motion that we hire the Spicer Group for the dam value determination that we have to do per their letter dated February 7th, 2022. And I'm going to include that for $2,400.
Do you want to say not to exceed $2,400?
Correct.
I'll second that.
We should have a comment about the bid process because the county commissioners could possibly want us to go out to bid even though, as Garth pointed out, it's not.
Yeah, I wouldn't put that in a motion, but I like your idea of a comment that the dam authority,
And waive any,
the dam authority recommends that we waive, what is
any
the
bid
words?
requirement.
We waive going out for bids because this is an engineering company and they're also very familiar with our dam and you aren't gonna get it any cheaper.
So is that going to be added on.
It's not a part of the motion.
It's
no.
not a part.
Well,
Did we vote on the second one?
Well, we have not voted on the second. We need to have it in the motion that we are recommending this.
You can add it to the end of the not to exceed the $2,400 and
Waive the bid process.
And waive the bid
Request-
process.
request to
That's
waive
real
the
good.
bid
Keep it at
process.
that.
It's simple. Are we good on the motion? Second. There's a support on the motion. All those in favor? All opposed? Okay, we have a recommendation to the County Board of Commissioners for both of the Spicer, and that's the way it's worded, right, Allison? Recommendation to the County Board of Commissioners?
it's going to be a recommendation, correct?
Recommendation.
Are you gonna
Board of
present
Commissioners.
this? Okay.
There.
These are nice quotes. I really, really, really like them.
Okay, it brings us to the safety ladder discussion. Jerry has drawings. Does everyone have a copy? He has organized this and had this done. And Jerry, why don't you take it? Tell us what we got in front of us.
Okay, the CAD drawing was handled by Ace Welding, and as it says on the front sheet, the print side, it says for discussion purposes only, not for construction, which means, of course, you probably all know, this is the layout, this is the numbers that Ace Welding gave us, but that means if we seek bids, whoever wants to, they would have to physically go down there and measure themselves. Like I said, everybody's tape measure is a little bit different, you know, so they know how they want to lay it out. But this is the path or the direction I'd like to see us go, which would work for the area that we need to access and how to access it safely. He added on the picture, he added the railings just for, of course, safety purposes to keep OSHA happy with that. So the ladder that, the middle picture layout there is that ladder drops, of course, as you can tell, down to the dam pad, the pad itself, where the water runs. That will go down, 7.5 feet or whatever, and probably stay a foot above a foot to a foot and a half above the where the water runs or comes across. It's so if we have ice going over, anything that's more than 2 feet thick is going to be a tough winter. But it wouldn't be that thick, because something that thick usually gets caught by above the dam until it gets smaller, and then it goes underneath the rope and the buoys, and then it goes over the dam, so over the gate. It fits inside that wooden door, so it's not accessible to the public. It's not outside, so
That'll be inside.
that'll be right there as you open the wooden door before you get to our new water wall that we've had put in a couple years ago by Spicer. You can get to the ladder right there and access up, which I'm thinking will help us too with the camera that's on the other side of that dam. We'll try to reach that easier for maintenance, but
Anybody need a picture to see where that ladder's gonna go?
Yeah, I got my pictures that he gave us last time.
Just gotta. Basically, it's just where Jerry's stand. Kind of squeezed in between the door. There's a little control. It's that's that sloping piece that's on the drawing.
So I'd like to, you folks are, unless you have a different idea, otherwise this would take care of what we need for safely accessing the gate to grease it.
Now, we do
Maintain.
have money in the budget
We do.
as a guesstimate. $10,000.
That was all we put in there?
That was it. And it might have been that we didn't have a clear idea as to how this was going to look. You know, and I guess I want to talk about the procedure that we need to do to go out to bids. So we have this piece of paper and it says only for discussion on the front of it. So where do we go from here to go out to bids?
We can go out for bids anytime we want. We don't need authorization. Jerry's gone out for bids for a lot of things, tractor, plow, and whatever. Once the bid comes in,
Then we make a recommendation.
Then we hash it out and say we got one bid or two bids, no bids, and then see where we are in the budget, right? So I think we just need a motion to go out for bids.
Do we need to maybe have in that motion that you and Jerry work with Laurel to get the specifications right, because it's gonna go out to the whole world through that procedure we do?
I was thinking of the same line, but I would rather just have it in part of our discussion that we agree that that happens, because if I'm not available, you have to make another damn motion. I think we should make a motion to go out for bids, and if everybody's in agreement, just
John
like
and
we,
Jerry work with Laurel to get the spec
that
sheet.
John and Jerry and Laura will write up some specs. Because I'm concerned about the painting,
Powder
we
coating.
want to include in that the installation.
The type of material, John, excuse me, is also, you know, they'd have to weigh, go stainless or galvanized, or that would be their call. And then we could decide if we like that or
That'll all
not.
come
But-
out in the writing of the specs.
Well, the spec would be,
And your comment that whoever's gonna make a bid's gonna actually have to be talking with you and the site. You can't just make a bid
this is also include the install too.
and then the install too.
And Laurel's pretty good about that, about meeting on site and stuff, but that one page of specs that we got like 10 items, you gotta do there and
We
this and
make-
that.
So would Ace install too?
We'd do that too.
They do
After-
that too?
I would like to see that happen.
Yeah, one bid.
It would be,
So we make sure that Ace knows that this is coming out.
you know, I can, get it to the, different people or
Well, if it'll go out,
through
you know,
that, yeah.
I forget the name of it, but it goes out to the whole world.
So my motion is brief, that we go out for bids to install the safety ladder. Is that what you're calling
To
it?
build and install.
Build and install, fabricate and install the safety ladder,
Install.
safety access ladder.
So we have a motion, are we good on the motion, Allison? Do we have support?
Yeah, I'll support.
Okay, there's a motion to go out for bids to fabricate and install this safety ladder. Any discussion? It's understood that John and Jerry and Laurel hash out the
Detail.
nuts and bolts on it. Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thanks for your work on this, Jerry.
Yeah.
Thank you for your support on this.
It's like, took 3 months to get this far. Or 4.
3 years, isn't it?
Seems like it, yeah.
Anyway, what brings us to item number 3, budget discussion. There were a couple items that I had seen in the minutes there. One was the walkway that's ending, it's nearing the end of its life. It's a wooden walkway. And then the other thing was a roof leak that we've had over time. The initial roof leak was fixed within a year of installation of the dam, and now we have another roof leak. Anyway.
Because of ponding issues where.
Go ahead, Jerry, why don't you flesh that out?
Well, you're on, I just want to add to that just, the leak is from the offset, and there's a pocket where the cement roof, and then it comes up and, the higher part of the ponds in that corner and stuff, so they'd have to try to reshape it and then seal it.
Yeah, the roof is not
Water
flat.
runs off.
It's kind of surprising because you're in the control room and it's concrete ceiling. You'd think the top would be flat, but for whatever reason, when it was installed, there are two different levels.
Really?
And there's right where their two come together, there's an area where the water can pond. And that's what we've been kind of fighting, is the water gradually trickles through a crack. Doesn't pour through, but it comes through.
Start dripping, then it works its way along. It's the places they sealed years ago, but as you know, cement moves and different things happen, and this is something that we probably should address. I think it's important that we address it sooner than later, because
It's
years
not
go
causing
by.
a lot of problems, but it's
No,
something
but it's
that's been nagging at us now for
number of years.
number.
Yes, sir.
Well, we've got a dehumidifier in that room.
Yeah,
Correct.
That runs
24/7.
more than it would because of a leak. So,
so this is a potential budget item. At one time, you had
An idea of what.
an idea of a dollar value on it.
Yeah.
And we don't have to have that today, but
No, I could go out and get a hold of some roofers again and get an idea.
can you scrounge up a number for us?
Sure.
So by our next meeting, come back
I'd like to
with
try to
a-
budget for 23, yeah.
with a guesstimate
Sure.
and maybe pad it a little bit so we don't
Always.
end up under. Okay, cool. And anybody that wants to help Jerry along with that is welcome and can kind of kibitz or whatever. Any comments, more comments on the roof situation? That brings us to the walkway, and we had a John and Bob committee. I don't know if it was a committee, but John and Bob were gonna walk it and talk it.
so since the last meeting, we were told to go out and look at it again. And Bob and I met and we discussed a few items, and he was thinking of, I was thinking of galvanized lift-out sections. He was thinking of aluminum lift-out sections made by a dock company. And it was snowing and blowing and freezing, and he was gonna get with that dock company, and I've asked him twice and he hasn't done it yet.
Can I add to that? After that time, then I went ahead and contacted a dock company, a large one that works, I can't think of the name right now, I'm sorry. And he did call me back because he was doing some work down there at the harbor. So he came back, he called me back and said, Jerry, what we're looking for is that, you've seen the aluminum docks with that, the grading looks plastic, but it's not, there's some material, and then the new stuff. That's what we were looking at, we were talking about that, looking at that angle. Bob had suggested that too, but he said, for the way it's laid out, the way the structure is, and what they make, how they make the dock, it would not, the strength wouldn't be there that we're looking for. It could be if you wanted to really get into some refabricating or, adding aluminum to, and create but he said, as it sits to pull what you have and then to try to put something like this in, it wouldn't have the strength, durability, and it's be a major, major issue there. So, didn't elaborate too much. He agreed to do a show and tell, but I got the gist of what he was saying. And So now we're back to, panels, heavier duty, and really have to look at it maybe, I don't know, get into an engineering thing, it depends on what we want to do. Do we want to just tear out the wooden structure or the support, and then put in new wooden structure onto the existing beams that we have? That's kind of where we're at. But access to, with consideration to the dewatering, to try to get to those 16, 18 tubes at the bottom that are underneath the deck, to try to dewater, but still the deck is in need of replacement, and the nailers per se on the bottom where you run your boards across, as you know, the nailers that are tied to the beam, those are getting rotted. Of course, they're laying flat, water's not, anything's gonna eventually rot after. It's been what, 08, I'm sorry, 06, 05, 05, 06. So that's what we're running into.
Well, that's good to know. Again, I looked it over a lot and I gave everybody pictures. That whole thing can be rebuilt pretty simple off land and dropped and carried in place, except that we don't want those horizontal 2x4s there, or 2x6s, for the same reason you said. We gotta have something that lifts out so that we can work on that dam, and that's when I came up with the idea of lift out
Sections.
expanded metal or whatever, and probably out of galvanized. And
That whole idea would be great, because we're not gonna do it all the time. That's,
Right.
But, so if we build it where it's gonna take 2 men and a boy to lift it out, that's what you do. But at least we have to, as you know, our consideration is the public,
right,
which is constant up there, and the railing especially, the vertical, the railing.
we
It's held
talked.
by 4x4s, but it's getting tired.
We talked about changing the design, and if we went to anything else, it wouldn't fit in with that present decor. We still should have nice railings with spindles. And again, you can fabricate that all on land and be dropped in
But if
place.
it was
When
made
the
of-
time comes time for
Right.
someone to dewater the dam and lift it out, they're gonna have a crane there anyway
How we set it in.
and put these things in.
So it's looking like the understructure could be, say, a galvanized, and then the upper structure still be the wood.
Yes, you're correct. If you remember my pictures, everything sits on these big galvanized cross beams, and everything can still sit there. They can be drilled and fastened to it. Everything can be done except those little 2x6 cross beams. We should replace that
With galvanized.
with something that isn't gonna rust and leak down. I don't know if you got all that. However, I would like, if we're gonna go into next year's budget, somehow can we get, under Chet's authorization, somebody like, what is his
Machine?
name?
Machine engineering does that stuff.
Yeah,
That machine?
no, the guy that built it.
Oh, rusty.
Spice, Rusty.
Yeah. If he could come up, he built it, I saw the drawings, I saw his specs on it, he designed it all. No, he bid on it all when he put it in. And pay him for a day or a morning to come up and say, could you give us a budget item of what you think it would take to rip this out, fabricate a new one, and put a galvanized decking floor? And he said, yeah, I think I could do it for, the contract bid on that thing was fairly cheap. I think they only, it's like 10 or 15, I don't have it right here, but I went, and it was a line item, walkway per design, and it wasn't that much back then.
Can I ask you a
Because-
question?
Huh?
Can I ask a question, interrupt? Is there a reason that they went with wood?
Yeah, to match everything else. See, that
But-
guy's railing came all the way down from the store and all that. and we just continued to match it.
Because I just wondered for future, I mean, it would be costly, but to fabricate something out of galvanized, whatever, that would last forever. But the question, you don't have to worry about maintenance, you just, you know, because that's not going to rot. You know, long after we're all gone, it's still going to be there, but this is going to be an ongoing thing over the decades.
Well, it lasted 20
But
years.
I was
but-
just wondering if they built it out of wood for a future access ability to do whatever there. I don't know, because wood's easier to take out than when you have a railing like we have out here that's, everything's welded. So I don't know, I'm just asking that question. Aesthetically, yeah, you know, is it our responsibility as a county to make sure that we blend in with the fish town? I'm looking at the liability and the strength and safety of people using it. That's for future. So it's not gonna have to worry about something giving way or rotting. That's all I'm asking. It's something to think about.
I keep thinking of his name.
Maybe I'm
What's
overthinking
his
it.
name?
Rusty Friedel?
Rusty. If you call Rusty and say, hey, Rusty, what would it cost for you to come up here, spend an hour and look at that and give us a budget item? And then we could go to Chet and say, hey, we think Rusty would come up here for $500 or something. I don't know. And then getting that is similar to getting this, saying, yeah, I think, because Rusty was real good in laying out our next budget of what it would cost to do this, replace the pistons, to do this, and he was real good there when we were trying to come up with the big budget items of what we're gonna do in the next 20 years. This wasn't on it. He gave us an item of what it would take to sandblast and paint it. He gave us another one, what it would cost to dewater it, and he was pretty good. He might even do that from his desk. He's got the drawings on it.
Does he still have the drawings?
Well, I
He
guess
might
I
not. He's
assume he
different
does.
Different company.
But if not, we could mail it to him.
Well, Pat Shin has the drawings, right?
I
Yeah.
don't know.
But
Because
I'd brought Rusty up because he was the one that built it.
I know, but I'm just trying to locate a digital form of the drawing.
The ones Gerace
Oh,
has, those originals.
He's got drawings, and I
Gerace
got
would have
drawings.
originals, but I don't know.
Rusty's
get
with
'em.
Fisher,
Yeah, I know. So that's, remember that was kind of the,
but,
I got
we
the
have-
complete construction drawings and everything at home.
do you have a disc? We have a disc, don't we? I might have a disc. So there'd be a digital format. I'll check for a digital, check for disc.
So my request is that we ask Rusty whether
So that's,
he would be interested in doing it, and then go to Chet and say,
so that'll give us a ballpark number to work with in
for the fall. Yeah, if he says I can do it for 20 grand, April.
next meeting, we have to have a ballpark number. Because that's when Jerry's bringing his ballpark, and that's when you're gonna bring your ballpark. You'll work with me, I'll talk with Rusty. If that doesn't work, we'll have to go somewhere else to get a ballpark for the April meeting.
And all we would know from Rusty is, Rusty, if we asked you to replace this thing, how much would it cost to give us an estimate? He said, I could probably give you an estimate in 2 hours, you know,
Just
at $100 an
question I
hour.
have for you is, do you want to look at a different
Material.
material for it, or stick with what you have? That's the question you gotta have, because I can get some people out too, what do you guys, what do you think, what do you folks think, how we should address, that's a question I have about that.
I think you should look both ways.
Well, it's,
Replacing it as it is with wood and also maybe possibly something that's gonna last.
Permanent,
What are the-
safer too.
What are the?
Yeah, safer and longer.
I know the wood has a fair amount of strength, and a lot of the newer products that are used for decking
Sure.
aren't wood anymore, they're
Composite,
mixture of plastic
Sure.
and wood, that kind of
sun
thing.
gets at it and everything, yeah.
I agree.
Are
They could
those-
make it look more woody, but
Are
it's not
those,
wood. Sure.
they're not as structural, am I getting that right? So it would be, if we went to a different material like that,
Wouldn't
we wouldn't
compromise
have the
the,
structure strength that the wood has, and it would be
Sure.
a different it's somehow different to put it together.
Okay.
Well, then maybe when we get on the phone with him, we should ask, do you want to come up and look at it? And he might have some
But
other
adding
idea.
to that,
I'll give Rusty a shout and pick his brain.
All right.
adding to that, we're gonna still consider the access of this too, the access point to get down to work on dewatering too. So there's a couple
Well,
things here.
that's part of that lift out grade.
Well, that's what I'm just
Right.
saying.
So I rest my case. So you're gonna pick up,
I'll give Rusty a
I
call,
like that, you're
Sure.
gonna pick at his brain.
pick his brain a bit.
It's all the tools I have to throw into the gears, so things turning, but,
Well, it's good, it's good discussion.
I don't know.
Now's the time to think about it,
sure.
not later. Now we're looking at a replacement, and now's the time to ask the question. So we've got 2 of those coming, some dollars will be coming at us next meeting in April, and then we can ideally figure out what our budget's gonna be. Any other things, Jared, that we need, looking at 2023? We got the roof, we got the walkway, I think we're in pretty good shape. Anything else comes to mind, put a dollar figure on it and bring it to the April meeting.
I went over the budget before we came here, and we didn't have anything slated for the next couple of years of stuff other than, let's maybe look at the
Than what we're
roof.
doing right today.
And then this walkway was not in our big, long 5-year plan, but all we got is routine maintenance the next couple of years.
So this should fit. Okay, anything else on the budget discussion? Seeing none, we can move on to public comment. Seeing none, authority member comments, anybody? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Word adjourned.
Thank you for being here, making the time.
Oh,
That bailed, Greg, you bailed me out.
Got home lunch now.